White privilege is BS. It's another hokum-pokum construction of the left that does not exist in reality. This is an all-out assault on the white majority. Here's Victor Davis Hanson. This is a really an excellent piece. The title of his piece, The Game of Pseudo-Authenticity. And one of the things his column focuses on is this whole idea of white privilege, white supremacy, white this, white that. And one of the points he makes is that it's amazing. It is really amazing how hard the Democrats have worked to lie about who they are, that they are completely fake. They all, and when I think Kennedy's, think Pelosi, think Tom Steyer, I mean, the Democrat Party is the modern-day home of obscene wealth in this country. People don't know this because of age-old image-making that has portrayed Republicans and CEOs as big, rich, uncaring, mean-spirited, racist bigots. But everybody thinks the Republicans are the party of the rich and the party of tax cuts for the rich, but the home of modern uber wealth in America today is the Democrat Party. Look at the family of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Her family's story is one of higher education, upward mobility, and integration into the majority population, somewhat similar to Kamala Harris's upbringing in Berkeley and Montreal. She's the daughter of a cancer research scientist and a Stanford economics professor. That's Kamala Harris. But no one ever lies about being more white. They all lie about being more anything else. If whites are so privileged, why would you abandon it? If there is such a thing as white privilege, why would you do everything you can to run away from it? If all the privilege in America, if all the advantages, if all the opportunities are reserved for white people, why would you want to be seen as running as far away from it as you can? Well, because the answer is whites are not overall more privileged in America than anybody else is. It's another lie. It's another series of fakery. It's another bit of political construction to insulate these people from being criticized for their acquisition of wealth, being criticized for their acquisition of power, while they engage in that criticism of others and accuse white people of having engaged in some sort of illegal, nefarious practices, taking advantage of the unfairness that white people have in America, when in fact, they've done it all. Many of them are white. And they run away from it. Where is this white privilege if it is so dominant? If it's the way to go? If white privilege is what it takes to get where you want to go, earn the money you want to earn, why abandon it? Victor Davis Hanson, if white privilege is a real thing, why is no one trying to claim ethnic whiteness in order to access those enormous privileges? Now, you might think the question answers itself, but I still think that it is a good question because there is white privilege is BS. It's another hokum-pokum construction of the left that does not exist in reality. Don't tell your average college student, however. If white privilege is a real thing, why is no one trying to claim it? Why does nobody want to be it? Kind of a turnaround on Yogi Berra's old saw. You know what? That restaurant, it's so crowded anymore, nobody goes there. Yeah, white privilege, it's such an unfair advantage and nobody wants to use it. Instead, what we have a bunch of very successful white people trying to lie and claim more degrees of blackness. Look, what was her name? Rachel Dolezal, and then we got Pocahontas. I'm an Indian. I'm 1,024th Indian. We have all kinds of white people doing everything they can to claim they've got some degree of blackness, some degree of Native Americanness, some degree of Hispanicness. Or we have rich people claiming to be poor. How odd that our establishment insists that being white is synonymous with unearned white privilege, while at the same time millions of whites in job and college applications for decades have been trying to con fake minority identities, and while upscale minorities have no desire, even when intermarried or assimilated and integrated into the majority culture, of emphasizing the partial white ancestry. Do you notice that? Obama is half white. He doesn't want any part of that whiteness. No way. White privilege? Why not? If there's so much white privilege, if there is so much white opportunity, if all of the power resides in white America, then why not emphasize a part of you that is white and claim it and be part of that club? Instead, we've got these lunatics like Elizabeth Warren and Rachel Dolezal and all the rest of them trying to claim that they are one smidgen of this Hispanic or one smidgen of this African American. I know you think the question answers itself, and it may. This is an all-out assault on the white majority, because the white majority is blamed as being the lineage of the founders of this country, and of course the foundation of this country is unjust and immoral and unacceptable and must be overturned. Minority identity has become a brand now. Minority identity has become a brand for the upper middle class in the manner of a luxury car. One strives to drive a Mercedes or Jaguar not because it's more reliable or even all that much more drivable than a Toyota or Honda, but because it signals a particular cachet. It says something about you. And so these too wealthy leftist suburbanites often find emphasizing non-white identities useful, even if it means occasionally constructing them. Remember when adopting a black African child was the new accessory for Hollywood starlets? And that's what it was. It was an accessory for the uber-guilty left. It was a way of, it was the most recent way of wearing the red ribbon that said you cared about something when nobody else did. And the more ribbons you wore, the bigger your heart was. And the fewer ribbons you wore, the more hate you had. Everything is symbolism. In other words, in almost every case of cultural or racial appropriation, the effort is largely one of a leftist seeking to be more even authentically progressive by identifying more genuinely with victims of majority bias and discrimination. You have all this white privilege, they say. You have all these advantages, and yet whites run away from it, white leftists run away from it, and they join organizations to try to ridicule it. And yet they have used every ounce of that privilege to amass fortunes and power. Like Elizabeth Warren, the names go on and on. So you have a game here of pseudo-authenticity. And it just epitomizes the Democrats' push for everybody to believe and act as though this is a country of new minorities, new demographics, that nobody wants to be part of this white privilege because it's so evil, it's so inherently unfair, unjust, immoral, mean-spirited. And it's just more unreality, more inauthenticity. So what's real, what's decent, what's good gets laughed at, ripped, criticized, and it makes people afraid, certain people afraid to be who they are.